This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Sorry for the late. All right. So just to start here, yesterday we were trying to kind of run our pipeline. And everything was working fine, right? I think today also it went through my bit. I think we didn't disable it. Let's see. Yeah. So the workstation startup is starting, and this machine is getting kind of queued. Okay, waiting for the workstation to work. Okay, so let me go to out. Okay, somehow it is not able to start up the workstation. We can take a look into that later, but for now I will just cancel this. And the main important thing is, so for a few days we don't want to really require this particular pipeline to be scheduling. I will just set the schedule off. Okay, so whenever is needed, I will just go and enable it. Okay, fine, cool. And I'll go back to the releases. I'll just kick off this particular destroy part. Destroy. Okay, so we're going to start with the Prometheus thing. Okay, so the Prometheus is a monitoring tool. Okay, and so what actually it does and how is it different with the other things? Okay, let me show you them. Just or I think I have exclusively Prometheus one. So Prometheus monitoring. So okay, why do you require monitoring generally? Like just to say that so just to start with, why do you require monitoring? You require monitoring for so getting an alerts if there is some kind of issue kind of thing. So you require some alerts. Okay, so for that you require it. Or also you require analyze the long-term trends basically if you want to understand so how you do require trends basically if you look in trends like, or like let's say I want to just look for so Microsoft stock price. Okay, like let's say okay, there's a long-term term. I mean, there's a long-term trend here, right? So if you look for the last 5 years, you generally kind of see the trend basically, right? It helps you in understanding the trend, and that's what you have it here. Analyze long-term trends and compare over a time. So you can compare like last year how was it, this year how is it, last month how is it, this year how is it, kind of thing. You have it, and the next thing is okay, it helps you in building some dashboards and projecting the data. Okay, so that is the another piece, and also you can go with the retrospective analysis. And so here retrospective analysis is basically look back and understand what really happened. It helps you in identifying, okay, this happened due to this. Okay, so it helps you in analysis basically. So that's another thing. So what is broken and why is broken also you will come to know. Okay, so because you're going with alerts and all, right? So that's also another thing. But a quite important thing here is what to monitor. Okay, so you'll have a lot of things generally, right? So you have CPU, memory, okay, and you have other things. So generally, when you come to the monitoring, like what I need to monitor, okay, so that's a big question by the way here. Now, what to monitor is a quite tricky thing, okay. Or when it comes to the servers, okay, so generally like putting it. 1 second, give me 1 second. Sorry. Yeah. Here, server side, you generally monitor kind of a CPU memory network. So these are the quite common things we generally compare. And um, okay, so and when come to the containers, you generally kind of monitor. So containers you don't require. So I think I made this particular generally, talking about some kind of Kubernetes related monitoring. This slide is made for different purpose, but that's okay. So server side, you generally monitor CPU, memory, IO network, and along with this application. So your application throughput, latency, these things also you will try to monitor with the monitoring system generally. Okay, so and so basically when you go with the actual standard practices of monitoring, Google monitoring is a kind of a benchmark can be taken basically because Google does a nice monitoring. Um, Google does a nice monitoring. They have a nice monitoring setup, and they introduce a term called a site reliability engineering. Today we have some roles around that as well, right? So yeah, so how Google runs the production system. So they actually monitor not unnecessary things basically. Majorly they focus on the application. When it comes to the application, you should look for the latency and you look for the traffic, how much traffic actually are coming. So we also going to find out this particular one, how much latency you're getting it and how much traffic you're getting it. Okay, how much error rate you're having and saturation. So saturation is kind of so whether you are really using the resources or not, right? I mean, you have 1 GB, you have taken 1 GB server, and it's when 1 GB server is taken, like a RAM side, okay, whether 1 GB is really used or not. Okay, so we kind of require that particular information. Okay, so and also there is a kind of a monitoring ladder from vworks. Vworks is a kind of a company which majorly focuses on Kubernetes services basically. So they provide Kubernetes as a service in their platform. And how do they actually kind of I mean, these are community contributors basically. I just took these things from the community discussions, nothing more than that. Okay, you really necessarily need not to follow these, but I'm just telling like so these guys actually kind of so gives what they made actually to achieve the product stabilization, right? So that's where they actually came up with some kind of monitoring ladder. Okay, so ultimately, so you have to feel step by step, and you have to go with the so generally to the proactiveness, and these are the different phases which you have to go there. Okay, I'm not really going to deep dive into those particular phases. It's really necessarily not needed at this point of time for you, and yeah, but I'll just move on to the types of monitoring systems. And if you are interested, actually, the vworks have the that vworks monitoring ladder. You will look for the white paper. You will get it from the internet, okay, from their website only. And then you can see that. Okay, so now the next one is types of monitoring systems. So basically you have white box and black box. White box and black box. Okay, so white box, I think yesterday only I was saying, no, I think it's a different context. Yeah, so white box is nothing but it helps you if the box is open, you can look inside what it is. And if the block is closed, you cannot look actually what it is, right? What inside it is. And that's the context of white box versus black box. Prometheus is a white box. Okay, Prometheus is a white box monitoring. Okay, so let's say you ask to monitor a web service, it can even look what is happening inside the web service also. It has a capability. You ask for you ask for an application to monitor. If application allows the Prometheus to monitor, then it can look what is happening inside the application as well. Okay, so that's the white box thing. So with other old tools like Nagios or some other tools, so you can say that application is up and running. That's it. You cannot do anything more than that. Okay, but Nagios doesn't have any kind of libraries can look into what is really happening inside that particular process, but Prometheus has that. And if that particular process allows it, by the way, okay, if the process allows it, like let's say I'm monitoring a Java service. Java service allows my monitoring system to monitor, so then it goes and go and use the Java libraries and kind of it has, and it can read what is really happening inside it. Okay, so that's the flexibility that Prometheus has, and it's a white box monitoring. Okay, so and also there is a push versus pull. Okay, when it comes to push versus pull, Prometheus is a pull metrics base. So that means it goes to the every agent and pull the metrics in a given period of time. Okay, real time versus historic. Prometheus is not a real time. Prometheus is a historic data. Okay, it can alert based on the historic data. It's a time series data it is going to have. So it is going to have some trend graph. Basically, it collects every given interval. It collects the data, and immediately after finding out the a service is down, it will never report. But other monitoring systems, immediately if the service is find out or whatever it is monitoring is down, it kind of give you the alert basically. So, but it Prometheus works on the historic data. Okay, like let's say you can say that if the service is down for last 1 minute, then only you can alert. You can say that it's always based on the time series. Okay, that's why it becomes a historic data. It's not a line data. And basically, RED is best for containers. You forget about this. I think that much is the introduction we have here. And what Prometheus does, this red is not here, right? Okay, yeah, that's okay. So the Prometheus. Okay, so I mean, why Prometheus is famous kind of thing. So the Prometheus is Prometheus is in so Prometheus is actually from SoundCloud. Okay, SoundCloud or Sonar, SoundCloud. Okay, so SoundCloud. Yeah, SoundCloud. If you go there, SoundCloud is a company, right? So which provides, it's kind of a like a platform for music basically, right? So these guys kind of provide the music. Okay, and this company wanted to do some monitoring, and they started some product internally that becomes that is actually the Prometheus. Okay, and they hand over it to the community. Okay, and it's actually inspired from the Borgman from Google. Borgman is a monitoring system inside Google. Okay, and actually these people whoever started that particular Sonar SoundCloud is actually from the Google ex-Google employees, I think. Okay, so those guys actually kind of started this particular monitoring system, and they named it as Prometheus, and they handed over it to CNCF. And after CNCF first biggest project is Kubernetes, and okay, the second project is Prometheus only. Okay, so it has many integrations available, and it even for good for Kubernetes as well. But not only for Kubernetes, we can start with servers as well. I made this one for a context of Prometheus. Sorry, Prometheus with Kubernetes. So that's where you'll see that. And what Prometheus does, it's a monitoring system and a time series database, TSDB, time series database. It's a monitoring system and it's a TSDB. Okay, so time series database. And when it comes to the instrumentation, okay, it helps you in instrumenting, so certain process or certain things. Okay, a certain process generally. So so how do you instrument your certain process? Okay, it helps you in that. And also it does the metric collection and storage and store them. Basically, it collects the metrics and store them. Yeah, it provides a query language where you can query and get the results. Okay, and also you will get an alerting system available there. Okay, and also you have something called as dashboards, and you can also go for graphing and look for trending. Basically, look for graphs and look for trending. That's what the Prometheus does as a tool. And Prometheus does not also do something here. Okay, it's not it cannot actually have it cannot do the log monitoring. So that is done by ELK, Elasticsearch. Prometheus does the tracing. This is some tools like Jaeger, those do that particular part. Okay, so it does not have any kind of machine learning mechanism. Okay, it does not do any kind of machine learning based on the pattern of the data coming in. No, it will not do that. It doesn't have a durable long-term storage. It by default actually can have only 15 days of data. Okay, beyond that you will not have that particular data stored in Prometheus. If you're actually looking for, you need to look for alternative tools. There are tools like Thanos. Okay, so Thanos Prometheus tool. Okay, so then Thanos is the one which is a tool for open source highly available Prometheus setup with the long-term storage capabilities. Main important thing is long-term storage capabilities. Okay, Prometheus does only 15 days of data. Okay, so it does not do the durable long-term storage. Or else you also have something called as Victoria metrics. I like this than, at least personally, I like this than Thanos actually. Okay, so this is a big storage basically. All right, and Victoria metrics, yeah, long-term storage, yeah, and automatic horizontal scaling and all. So if you have some Prometheus node running, you don't expect it to auto scale based on the load coming and all. Okay, you have to take care of those things. It doesn't does any kind of so auto scaling and all. Okay, there is no user management and authentication mechanism to the Prometheus, so anyone can look into the data. Okay, so it does not kind of any kind of uh, coming to with authentication and model. So that their policy they came up with. Okay, and when you look into the Prometheus architecture, so you're going to have the Prometheus, and you're going to have the jobs running inside your Prometheus would actually so which Prometheus is actually going to that particular jobs, and so what it runs the jobs and pulls the metrics. That's what it is going to do. Okay, and so there are other pieces actually, service discovery, we'll talk about that. And now if there is any alerts also, you can push there's an alert manager component we can configure that you have. It has some storage, as I mentioned, it has a minimal storage of 15 days of data, so which it is a time series database. And also now here you have something called as Grafana. So Grafana is another tool which can talk to the Prometheus and get the data from Prometheus and project on the graph. Okay, so these are the things. So probably in our requirement, we don't get this scenario of using the push gateway. So we'll talk about service discovery, we'll talk about the jobs, and even this alert manager I'll be doing from the Grafana only. Anywhere alert is alert, doesn't okay. That's okay. You directly use Prometheus alert manager or use Grafana alert manager to alert it. It's okay. I use Grafana and I'll show you Grafana only. And this is also easy, not a big deal, but just okay. So that's how we are going to start with Prometheus. So we're going to install Prometheus and we'll just look one by one component. Okay, so now let's get onto the Prometheus node. Let's take the node of Prometheus. Yesterday I created this instance, right? Launch instance. So I'll go with the T3 small instance, which is okay for Prometheus. And configure instance details, I'll go for a spot request. It's a persistent request. And also I'm going to take another node actually for Prometheus to monitor. Okay. Okay, so here if I just go with lab auto or disable auto shutdown, I'll make it and set hyphen hostname and set hyphen hostname, which is yes. And Prometheus I want to install, right? So Prometheus installation is quite simple only. It's not a big deal. So what you have to do is prometheus.io. You just click on download. It's actually going to download the Prometheus. Okay, so this server software actually. Okay, nothing. That it just downloads and keeps in the system. Yes, so cd/opd. Yes, so cd actually keeps here, and yeah, and actually it starts the Prometheus service as well. So systemctl status Prometheus. Okay, so it's actually running. Okay, and so now this node actually, this Prometheus actually goes and starts a service called as on the port number called as 9090. That means if I take this server and put it on the browser colon 9090, you will see that. Okay, so this is the Prometheus dashboard. Okay, right. The next one is here is the next one here is okay, so here you need to search for so search for the metrics, what all the metrics which is available. You can search for those metrics. So now here I don't have any kind of node metrics because I don't have any nodes configured for monitoring. All right, so that's where so that is where you need to configure your node metrics. If you are monitoring some Kubernetes, kube metrics will be there. If you are monitoring some other systems, like what all the metrics it can do basically. So it has Prometheus, it has alert manager, it blacks black box exporter, console exporter, graphite exporter, HA proxy exporter, memcached. If you are dealing with MySQL service, like let's say, okay, then there will be MySQL exporters there. Okay, node exporter for node, push gateway, start like this you will be having. Okay, Kubernetes exporter comes from Kubernetes side. Okay, this is the general exporters which are available on the Prometheus website side. Okay, so yeah. Now come back to here. So if there is any node actually added to the configuration, then it starts collecting that particular node metrics. Okay. Another thing which I can show you here is, so here I can show you the configuration. So this is the configuration of your Prometheus actually. It is telling that so the job name is just collect the Prometheus data, just collect the Prometheus servers data itself. So collect for the correct for every 15 seconds is what it is telling. Okay, all right, now I'm going to go to the configuration. So OPDC Prometheus and VM Prometheus dot YML. Okay, but before to that I wanted to log into my other node, prom node. Okay, let's do hyphen lab.auto. So here I'm going to install. Yeah, you need to install Prometheus Node Exporter 29. Okay, the node exporter is started. The node exporter runs on which port number? This is running on 9100. So I have to go to the configuration and say that, hey, I need my servers. I'm saying that hyphen job underscore name, and so this is actually going to be the so like let's say node one. This is a node one, and so here also it's a static config, and the IP address is this one. 9100. And what is the IP address? It's not localhost. So the IP address of this particular system is IPA, and to do this 7-bit systemctl restart Prometheus. Okay, I think it's been time. So now we can just go and try to refresh the config here. You should see a new node one, right? It's getting monitored. Now you understood these are the jobs, right? So job one, job two, like that. And if you remember the previous diagram, okay, so on the left side, Prometheus architecture. So the Prometheus on the left side, you're going to have the jobs here. So the jobs are actually getting kind of collecting the data, right? So that's what. Yeah, this is the diagram I've shown you, right? Yeah. So you see here Prometheus on the left side, you are having some jobs, and from the jobs, it's actually going to fill the metrics. Now, if I go to the Prometheus web page and I go to the Prometheus, so here I'm going to have, if I search for node, now you see a lot of nodes are coming. Okay, node underscore load underscore one. Okay, so just execute this particular one, and you're going to get some data. You're getting some data of the node, and you go to the graph, and this is the data actually. This is the data of the node which it is collected. Which it collected about this particular node information. So that's the data. Okay. So now if I could just go and do yum install stress-y. So stress hyphen help, and then stress hyphen help, and then like let's say if I want to go with the hyphen CPU 8 or something like that, just use this much. Now the load on this particular node is going to get increased, right? So now the load is getting increased. So then this is actually going to collect the data, and you'll see the data. But actually here the data view is not that great. Okay, so what I would suggest here is just go with the Grafana. Okay, so a lot of people, not a lot, at least most of the people uses Grafana here. Okay, so just that particular point, I would say we'll also go with the Grafana. It's quite simple only. So Grafana. Okay, done. And Grafana runs on a 3000 port. That's a standard port. So for Grafana, colon 3000. And yeah, just go for admin. I think admin only. Password by default, yes. And you can skip the default password setup. It's okay. Okay, cool. This is the Grafana dashboard. So now to the Grafana, I'm going to say that, hey, you need some data sources. Yes, you need some data sources. So go and add the data source. The data source is Prometheus. Select it, and the Prometheus, where it has to collect the data, so it has to be collected the data in localhost only, localhost colon 9090. Okay, so save and test, the data source updated, and data source is also working also. Okay, cool. All right, now you can go and put the data. Now let's say you're looking for, this is the dashboards you can create on the here, and you go to the you on the top you have some dashboard. So in the dashboard, so what you can say is it's a, so like let's say CPU monitoring. Okay, I'm saying this is a CPU monitoring. And here the data it has to pull is from Prometheus, and your node underscore load underscore one. Okay, so it is a load basically. So, and you're getting the last 6 hours data. Let's put only last 5 minutes data. Okay, just click on save, and this is something like that. Okay, just click on save. Okay, so now this is the dashboard basically. So until here the data is very minimal, and after that the data is actually going to high. Okay, the CPU is actually going to high. And the same way, now I want to add another panel. I want to say this as memory alert. Okay, memory usage. So the memory usage, if I want to say that my data source is Prometheus, and so node underscore memory underscore. So I mean, rather than here, so first of all you can also look for here also. It is easier to first at least look for the first matrix always here. Okay, so node underscore like let's say memory underscore, what are the things you have? Memory total bytes, how much you have, you will get it. Okay, so the memory total, but how do you calculate? So now some mathematics comes into picture here. So what is this mathematical calculation is? Let me show you. Let me connect my iPad. One second. Okay. All right. So now you need to calculate basically. So how much is the total memory? Like let's say you are having like 1024 MB you're having, and out of this, like let's say 500 MB is the usage. Okay, 500 MB is the usage. So now how do you calculate the percentage now? Okay, So the total is 1024 and the total is 1024 and so the usage is 500. So that means if you want to calculate the percentage, you are going to have 500 by 1024 into 100, isn't it? So whatever is the get, you get the percentage. So that is the usage percentage. Okay, so let's calculate that particular part. So 500 divided by 1024, okay, into 100. So that means 48% is the usage. So now you need to tell to your Prometheus query saying that, okay. So then what is the okay? So percentage used, okay, by percentage total, into 100. So this is the okay. This is the calculation. I mean, this is a calculation you need to do. So yes, Prometheus can do that. All right. So let's go and put it that in the query. Go back here. So now what is that? Used by total. So that means first of all, I should know that memory consumed. So memory totals free bytes, available bytes, and used bytes. Okay. So used, how I am getting, like let's say used node underscore node underscore memory underscore used node now VM allocated used. Okay, something is coming that is actually telling this much. So free hyphen yum. So it's actually a 2 GB of run and 18. No, this is something wrong. Okay, this is not really appropriate one. VM allocated is not the one. So then in that particular case, I'm not really getting okay, I'm not getting the used one. So, but whereas I'm getting the free bytes and so total bytes. So these two I'm getting. So let's change the calculation then. So the free is available and the so the free is available and the total is available. So then used is nothing but so total minus free. Okay. So divided by total. Okay, into 100. This is the calculate. So total minus free. Okay, first I have to do that. That becomes a used one. All right. So let's see. Total mem total minus node 1 minute. Memory underscore mem total bytes minus mem free bytes minus. Okay, if I just execute it, you get the response. Okay, this is the one. This is a free. Okay, that particular one. Okay, and in the braces you are bounding it. Okay, so by again you are going to do it with total. How much it is? You are getting some 38%. Okay, and into 100. So 38% you are getting. Okay, this is the query I had to make it. So I'll just take this query and I'll go to the Grafana and I will keep it over here. Okay, so then you get the graph. So this is a usage basically. Okay, so this is a memory usage. Click on save. Okay, go back and you continuously watch this. Okay, what's happening? Okay, how much was the CPU? How much was the memory and all? So this actually coming down because I stopped the stress. So stress CPU hyphen VM hyphen bytes. Basically, it's gonna be 28 MB. Enter. So it kind of so I can just go for the auto refresh. 5 seconds. So it's going to continuously show what is happening on that particular server. Okay. See that the load is getting increased, the memory usage is getting increased because you ran the stress command. and it's going up. So any resource, whatever it is collecting basically from the node, you can okay, you can monitor. All right, so you can see that particular one. Okay, cool. And so this is just to start with the monitoring part. Okay, and the next thing is um, called monitoring some services running. Okay, so if you want to monitor some services which are running inside the system, okay, then how do you do that? Okay, so let's go and find it out. Let's say I'm going to install some service here. So like let's say yum install nginx. Any hardware resource, you have the metrics available there. You need to find out the right metric and you put into the monitoring dashboard, you get it. Okay, so that's all. And system CTL enable nginx. Next, and then start nginx. Okay, so ps-ef backup for nginx. Okay, that is running, right? Okay, and the next thing here is I want to monitor this particular nginx process. So how do I do that? So then how do you do that is, so these node metrics you have to tell that you should also monitor the process. Okay, so what all your node metrics is actually monitoring? The node metrics is monitoring, so cat/etc system d system, or you can just go for so systemctl no, cat/var log messages pipe prefer Prometheus. I'm not getting anything. Or vi/var log messages. Yeah, Prometheus is going in a different log or something. No, node exporter. You should search for node exporter. So what all it's actually collecting the node exporter side is this one. Yes. So actually, if you see this, it's actually collecting these many things. It's actually collecting the CPU information, ARP information, BKC, bonding, all this information. If you don't want, this is coming out of box by default. If you don't want them also, you can stop them and you don't need to do it. Okay. So now I want to monitor the, so process basically. There is a system D. I think it's already there. So system D it's collecting the process. So now I can go and say here, okay, I want to add one more, and I'll say this is add a new panel. So which I'll say that it is the nginx process. Okay, then how do I monitor the nginx process? You require a query. So queries, I always try to, my preferable choice, there also you get it, but my preferable choice is this. Okay, this one. Now I want to say that node underscore system D. Okay, node underscore system D underscore, try to see this. So unit state, okay, all the unit states, and if you execute, you get all the unit states. Okay, you get all the unit states. Out of this, I'm looking for, so now this is the data you're getting, right? You can start filtering the data. So now until previously, you're getting only one data. Try to understand the data which are coming out. Okay, the data whichever is coming out, it was only kind of a single, it's kind of a single value, but now you're getting multiple values. Now out of this, I need to put some filtering now. So what is the filtering I want to give is, so name is equal to, the service name. So you search for nginx, execute it. Nginx dot service. Yeah. So the service you are looking for is nginx dot service. Okay, so now actually it is telling that, out of these, what actually I'm looking for, the state is active. The state is active. So the state is active is giving a number one. The remaining one is not giving one. So if it is stopped or failed, so then this becomes one. Okay. Now what I'm going to say that is I'm going to go for, so state is equal to, so active. Okay, so the value is one. If it is one, the service is running. If it is zero, the service is not running. All right. So I'll just go and put this into Grafana. You get this. Okay. So okay. Now it's continuously running. Okay. Now if I just go and give system stop nginx, so it's continuously monitoring, and you will see it. So now you can see this, it actually went down. The Nginx process is down. So now you can catch this, and you probably can kind of put some alerts as well. Okay, so you can start doing some alerting on top of this data. So now you're getting the data. Okay, so however you know that, how do you get the data? So you get the data, and based on the data, you can just go and okay, so put some alerts. Now, if the Nginx process is down, I want to get an alert. Okay, so let me edit this. So in the Grafana only, I want to do that. So you have some alert system here, alert section. Create an alert, but before to the alert, where I have to send the alert. Okay, so that is another problem. So first of all, let me go with the settings here. Let's go here and say that, notification channels. What all the notification channels you want to get it. Okay. So can I go with the Slack? Yes, Slack it is possible. So Slack it is possible to get an alert. So I'll just go with the Slack and do it. Okay. So add a channel, and I'll just say that, so to Slack, something like that. And the next one is to Slack. Slack integration is possible, and then you need to view your webhook URL. So how do I get my webhook URL? I have to go there, and I have to go to configure apps. I think Grafana alerts, I have something which is already created. You need to do that just for an understanding. Okay, alert is happening or not. That's what you're going to get. Or you can create your own Slack, and you can do it. Or if you're liking email also we can do that. Okay, so can't I add it? So let me remove the app, and I'll add it once again. So Grafana alerts and image apps, not there. So you can search for not here, or it is a normal. can't I edit this? So this is a webhook URL. I have to take it and I have to put it inside. So test this. I think it came though. So I got it in the random channel. So here, okay, this is only a remove, but where did I got it? Chatbot. Okay. So here in the chatbot, so we got some Grafana alert. Okay. So somewhere, some group, I think that's already configured with some chatbot. I'm just going to use it. Okay. So I'm fine and just click on save. So whenever there is an alert, I will be configuring it to Slack. Okay, cool. Let's go back to the dashboard. So there's a sample dashboard, go there, and there's an engineering process, go there and click on edit. I'll go to the alert and I'll click the create alert. So Nginx process alert, yes, of course. Now evaluate every 1 minute. So so evaluate every 1 minute for 5 minutes. Okay, so or else I'll say evaluate every 20 seconds for 1 minute. Okay, you evaluate my alert for you monitor for, I mean, you evaluate every 20 seconds for 1 minute and decide whether it's an alert or not. Okay, but when to say that is an alert? Okay, so then here it comes the average. It's not average actually, it's like, so the last value, okay, on an average of last 1 minute, the average of last 1 minute to now, okay, is below, okay, is below 1. You consider that as an alert. You consider current the value is 0. Currently the value is 0, and currently you're putting an alert on 1, and so you're going to say that alert. So do you want to send an alert to Slack? Okay, so you're going to say that nginx, so service, nginx service down. Okay, so just click on so save on the top. So ultimately you're going to get an alert. So it's already been a minute. Or it's already in alert. Yeah, it actually now started evaluating it. So you see this, it started evaluating now. So this line, okay, it waits for 1 minute because the condition you mentioned is 1 minute. So it waits for a minute and then it throws you an alert. Okay, now I think the red mark came. So the red mark denotes an alert. Alert has been triggered. So now you go here. So in the chart bar, you're saying that, so Nginx process alert, Nginx process alert, Nginx service is down, and on this machine it is down. Okay, cool, right? So it works fine. Now if I just go to the server and give systemctl start Nginx. Okay, so you just wait for a minute, then you will see. Okay, the process started. So since the process started, it will start evaluating once again, and then it will give a green line. So the green line denotes that so the service is up and running. Okay, then you will get a alert back saying that so the service is okay. So this is how we kind of monitor our so this is how we kind of monitor our alerts. All right, so monitor our services which are running. It's quite simple only, right? There's no much complexity involved over here, isn't it? Any questions on this so far? Any questions, confusions? Okay. All right. So the next thing is going to be is um, the next thing is going to be is auto discovery. So you have seen the Prometheus architecture. Prometheus architecture. So we have mm, so we have jobs basically. So we did some jobbing. Okay. So what's really happening here was so you kind of given the jobs. Now let's say we're in a dynamic world, isn't it? We're in a very dynamic world, and the dynamic world actually our servers are every day created, every day destroyed. A lot of servers gets created, destroyed, created, destroyed. So if I go with a job, then what is the problem? I should be having each and every node whichever is getting created. I should go and register inside my job configuration. So which technically becomes a difficult task. Okay, it's not possible also. Okay, at certain point of time, it becomes an impossible task. And every node whichever is getting created, you want to register a configuration inside Prometheus is not a great idea. Okay, so that's the reason. Okay, so we want to tell to the Prometheus, hey Prometheus, you only look for what all the servers are there in my network, what all the servers okay, so what all the servers you can find it out, so just deal with them. Okay, then you're going to tell to the Prometheus. Then Prometheus does what is, so the Prometheus, okay, so go and find the targets now. So here you already given the targets, so it's actually pulling the metrics. Now Prometheus is a kind of go and find the targets. That becomes a service discovery. Okay, so now if any node is actually getting created, and if there is a Prometheus node exporter configured out there, it automatically pulls that particular node metrics to the Prometheus. Let's see how it happens. Okay, so service discovery in Prometheus. So if you just go to the prometheus.io, there's a documentation, nice documentation which is available. Go to the talks, and if you go to the Prometheus side, if I go for configuration, and you will be going with the configuration. And here you are going to have, so which one you are using? You are using a job, right? So you are using a static underscore config. If you see here, go to the view configuration. So you are using which which one is static config. Now I am going to say that, okay, so now I am going to say you don't need to use a static config. You can use dynamic config. So that's also one of the one which are using is static config is one of these. Now I want to go with the EC2 service discovery config. EC2 SD configs allow retrieving the scraping targets from Amazon EC2 instances. So the private address is used by default. You may need to change to public IP address and relabel. Okay, so that's what it is going to do. And for this particular one, so you require some configuration. So yeah, either you can do this or you can find out some sample configuration from other websites. Okay, so Prometheus EC2 service discovery. Yes, EC2 service discovery example. You search for that. So probably, so some people give you the minimum fields whichever is necessarily needed. Okay, so so first of all, what you have to do is you have to create one IAM role having the read-only access to the EC2 machines, and then you configure this particular script config. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, cool. And so the next thing is, the next thing here is, is this. Go to the server, VM Prometheus.yml, the scrape config you have. Okay, so what I'm doing here. Okay, you paste it. So now you're going to say that it's EC2 nodes. Okay, EC2 S2 config, and which region we are using is AB. No AB. US -east -1. And what is your access key and secret key? And over here, go to EC2, go to IAM. And add user, and I will say that, so this is for Prometheus node EC2, something like that. Programmatic access is what we want, and attach policies. So I would like to have only EC2 read-only access. Full access I don't want, only the read-only access I want. So tags is user, and you get kind of username. Just take this, put it here, and systemctl restart. Oh, me. Yes. Okay. So yeah. So now it kind of starts monitoring the tail-f/var log messages. Okay. Why I'm doing here? Tail-f var log messages. Okay, so then actually it is kind of telling that, load the file, and it didn't give any errors. At least it started doing something. Okay, fine. If there is any node, automatically it pulls that particular node. Okay, So now there is only one node which is already having that particular Prometheus installed. So node exporter is already installed. So then it actually identifies that particular node. Let's see where it is really identifying that particular nodes from the Grafana side. Okay. So go to the Prometheus and you will say that, I want to look for node underscore load one, execute it. So you get only, you're getting one from one job, which is EC2 underscore node, which is this one. And the node one is the old one. You forget about this, after some time, it will go away. Okay. So currently it is showing the data because on the given timeline, it is also having some data. Now you see this is having actually something. But in order to identify this, whether it is really working or not, so what I will do is I will just go and launch more like this. Just click on launch. Let's go with the other node. Okay, let it come up. Okay, so now let's install this particular node exporter. Yeah, you just install the node exporter, right? netstart-lntp. So automatically, so it comes with 9100. Now go to the Prometheus server and you ask for who is having the load average. Now you see this, so another node also came into picture. So this node IP address is the new node IP address is 66.177. 66.177 also came into picture. Okay, so this is how generally we kind of auto collect the metrics. Okay, auto collect the nodes. Okay, there is some more thing involved over here. So the IP address is actually a confusion for me. IP addresses are confusion for me. So that's where so I want to put some node side saying that so this is like, let's say, front end, and this is like a back end. Okay, so I have some proper labeling now. Now I can ask my Prometheus, hey, can you put the label rather than the IP address? Yes, you can do that. Okay, so that's where some additional configurations come into picture. Okay, So relabeling, so labeling, is possible over here. The relabel configs, you are telling that, you take EC2 meta, I mean underscore meta, or you look into the documentation, like what all the meta information it actually collects from the servers. These are the from the EC2. These are all the information it actually collects. Okay, so now out of these, actually we are looking for tags. Okay, tagging. Where is tag? So this is the tag underscore meta underscore EC2 underscore tag underscore. What is our tag name? Name, right? Tag is name. Okay, so I want to take that particular tag name. Okay, and so what you okay, this is only for monitoring the instances with the name of SD demo. No, this is not I'm looking for. This is I'm looking for so changing the IP address to name. Okay, so how do I, yeah, this is the relabeling. Yeah, his next thing, yeah, here it is doing. All right, so here what he's doing is he's actually using a kind of a relabel. So source label is this one, I'll keep it. Okay, and the target label will become like, the target label will become target label is becoming instance. Rather than instance, I want the same tag only. Okay, how do I do that? So I probably need to find out the appropriate documentation here, nothing more than that. Okay, let's see. EC service discovery, relabel tag. You will find out relabeling tags also, some examples. Tags. So what is the first condition is doing is the first reliable action reserves processing only the targets. So with the prod, that's okay. And list in the call name, leading comments, no. This is also not I'm looking for. If I give instance, okay, let me take a look. Why do I look here and there? I have my configuration somewhere. So wiki config. Here I didn't use any kind of relabeling. No, I should. Okay, that might be available in the repos. Go to the Ansible, and I will say the rules for Prometheus, so the templates, node exporter service. Okay, and node exporter main.yml. Seriously. Node exporter is already installed. We're configuring the node exporter and installing the node exporter. That's it. No, I should be adding some monitoring. Instance only, I think. Okay, fine. So this is the thing I just need to add it there in the configuration. So yeah. and systemctl restart. Yes. Okay, so just to ensure there are no errors. Okay, cool. And if you just wait for some minutes, a couple of seconds, not even minutes, and you will start seeing the data getting, the instances, the data is getting converted from IP addresses to the names. You see this? And this will go away. Currently, as of now, the data is there while it is retrieving. So sooner after some minutes, this will go away. Then you will use this one. Okay, like this, you can actually put the name so that it can make more meaningful thing. Okay, rather than actually just randomly seeing the IP address. Now I want to use this particular configuration. Okay, so that prometheus.yml file. So this is a configuration, so which we are going to use it. Even I'm going to giving it for your reference. I'll go to this and say new page, Prometheus config. So this you need to replace with your own access key and secret key. Okay, so all right, and so now we are going to install the node exporter as a part of our application setup. So tomorrow we're going to set up the code for our tomorrow we're going to set up the code for our what we call for our application components. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to auto collect the metrics. Whether I'm getting the metrics or not, I'm going to see them. Okay, so how do you get it done? So probably tomorrow we will take a look, and yeah, so probably after imaging, okay, so that's a image change basically. So that means every component should make an image. So tomorrow it just takes some time for imaging, and then after the images are ready, or probably I can kind of, let's try to pick up the images at least. Okay, so we'll do that at least for today. Just 5 more minutes. I think just few more minutes. I will just so set up that particular node exporter part, and I'll do it. Or in fact, I even write it from my previous batch, right? So why don't I copy it from my previous batch? Okay, I can do that. CIT51 and Ansible SOCD CD roles CD Prometheus. So you know all the steps, by the way, right? It's not a big deal. And so you go with CID53 Ansible roles. This is a directory I'm copying and just copied it. Okay, so let's take a quick look here, and I'll go here and I'll say I'll go to Prometheus, and I'll go for templates task main.yml file. Now what you're doing is you're downloading the node exporter. Okay, so you're having some value. So here is the URL for the node exporter. The node exporter 1.0.1 is there. So but I'll go for Prometheus documentation is still one dot that is available. Download node exporter, and I think it's still 1.0.1 only. Okay, yeah, so that works. And so then and then I'll go for here, and it is, that's fine, and main.yml. So after that you copy the systemd file and start the service. That's it, nothing more than that. So the remaining things I should be doing it from The remaining things I should be doing it from um, the remaining things I'll be doing it from where? From the Prometheus server only. All right. So the next thing I want to do here is, see, I want to call the Prometheus. Prometheus should be there for each and every node. Okay. So that's where I am actually going to call the Prometheus setup for each and everything. Okay. So here tasks main.yml file. So here it is, and include Prometheus role. Okay. So the role name is Prometheus. Okay. And the task from you don't really require, so that's a main one only. You should do it for cart, you do it for catalog, you should do it the same for cart, and you should do the same thing for front end, and you do the same thing for Mongo. Do the same thing for Mongo MySQL payment, you should be doing it. Okay, spelling mistake, Prometheus. And shipping and user also. Okay, done. So after this, see, because this is going to open a new port, right? So now all these particular services, you need to open a new port also. So where is my ASG? In my ASG Terraform project, I'm going to go for ASG, and in the ASG, so you have some security group. So the security group should open 9100 port for everything, every server. Okay, so that's where I will take this, and I will open Prometheus, and it's actually 9100 port, and actually 9100 port, even for your VPC and even for your default VPC. So this is a change I need to make it on all the sites. So now I'll kick off the images, and then by tomorrow the images would be ready. Okay. So I will just go to my Azure DevOps, go to the pipelines, go to the releases. And even before to that, I will just go to my where this is coming from. Okay, so in the meantime, so I'll just go to the AMIs and I will just clean up all my AMIs. So tomorrow let the new AMIs come. Okay, so it's unnecessary billing. So I'll just deregister them, deregister all images. Okay, and I'll go to the snapshot. So the snapshot volumes will be there. So you just delete those things as well. Delete certain things which will not be deleted if you have anything in usage. Okay. All right, and I don't know who is this guy, how he came. Okay, so now I'll go to the AMI's part. And is there any AMI, is there any pipeline running here? No. All right, so the payment. So let's click on create a release, and probably no, so the AMI is not needed. Just yeah, create a release, that AMI is not needed. So sorry, the day setup is not needed. So just click on create. So the payment should be done. Create a release, and there you stop it. Just create the AMI, and cart also just create a release that Dave is not needed, create it. And front end create a release that Dave is not needed, just create it. And I think user, let's create a release, Dave, create it. And catalog also, let's create it, this one, create release. And ALB don't require, will be here. And this is all needed. And tomorrow you require the infra creation also, like go with the edit. So now I'll just go for the schedule. So tomorrow I'm going to schedule it. So at the morning 7 o'clock, I will trigger this particular pipeline. Okay. So just click on save. Right. So on Saturday, we'll take a look on, sorry, not on Saturday. Tomorrow we'll take a look on, okay. So we'll get the new AMIs and the environment will get set up. We'll see it tomorrow. Okay, that's all for today. Any questions? Okay, all right. No questions. We'll meet in tomorrow's session then. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye. Good day. Good night.